What happened this weekend? What lies ahead? Analysis and insight from the inside. This is Big Orange. Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
This is Big Orange Rewind. With the voice of the Vols, Mike Keith, and VolQuest.com's Brent Hubbs.
Tennessee falls at home on Saturday night by a final score of 33-27, losing to Oklahoma. The Vols are now 6-3 on the season, 3-3 in the Southeastern Conference. Tennessee is off this weekend before homecoming on November 15th against New Mexico State. That game is set for a 4:15 Eastern Time kickoff. Glad to have you with us on the Vol Radio Network. With Brent Hubbs, I am indeed Mike Keith. And we'll begin with our Rackley Roofing recap, a breakdown of Tennessee's game against Oklahoma, presented by Rackley Roofing, transforming the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Rackley Roofing, the proud official roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers. Brent Hubbs, is it too simple to say that at every big moment in the game, Oklahoma had an answer and Tennessee did not?
That's a great way to put it. Yes, and I think in every big moment, Tennessee was part of the reason why Oklahoma had the answer. And what I mean by that is, I think, and I don't want to take anything away from Oklahoma, but Tennessee's self-inflicted wounds seemingly were at critical times and in the worst positions on the, taking away scoring opportunities. The mistakes Tennessee made felt catastrophic. Maybe that's because Oklahoma made the play afterwards, okay, to your point. But Tennessee just can't be that sloppy. I mean, you can't. They just can't do the things that they did. When you're basically in the red zone going in, and you have the fumble, and then you throw an interception in your own end zone, and you give away 3 points right at the end of the half. You just have to play, particularly in this day and age, Mike. I mean, you look at every game that was played yesterday, with the exception of Ole Miss, they were all one-score games. This league's playing closer football games. It's very NFL-like in a lot of ways. There's a lot of NFL games that, you see it comes down to who makes a drive in the fourth quarter, that type of thing. When you're in those type of games, you've got to play a cleaner brand of football than what Tennessee played yesterday. You've got to do everything. You can't be that sloppy. You got to be much sharper.
Get off the field on 3rd and 16.
Get off the field on 3rd and 16. Don't take points off the board by, having a bust. And, it's one thing to have a bust and a fumble, but you go from at least kicking a field goal there to you give up 7. It's a catastrophic mistake.
Well, it even comes down to things like field goals.
Mm-hmm.
Sandell makes 3 kicks over 50, including 2 55-yarders. And unfortunately for Tennessee, they miss a 37-yarder, which, boy, sure would have been handy there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it. Tennessee punted twice. They had 2 3-and-outs yesterday. Everything else ended either in a score or it ended in a missed field goal, a turnover, or a turnover on downs. Now, you can say Oklahoma made a play, okay? And they did. I mean, they got Joey Aguilar on the one interception where he didn't see the safety. But some of the other stuff, Tennessee's got to take care of Tennessee more than what they did yesterday in a game like that when you have an opportunity.
Well, they had opportunities.
Tons of them.
You feel like if Tennessee goes up 14-0 in the first quarter, that game might not be close.
Right.
Because Oklahoma's a team that hasn't scored, until yesterday, hasn't scored more than 26 points. So if you get rolling to where they're having to go away from what they do, then they've got a problem.
Yeah. And they were a team yesterday that didn't score more than 26 points offensively.
Right.
Because you gave them 7 on the fumble. You're exactly right. And I think that's the thing that I'm trying to convey, and I'm not conveying it. It's like Tennessee has not done a good enough job of seizing the moment, seizing the opportunity. When you look at where Tennessee's losses are, we go back to the Georgia game. You get the turnover, you don't get a touchdown. You didn't seize that moment to make that a 2-score lead. Yesterday, you got a chance to go up. Last night, or Saturday night, you got a chance to go up 2 scores early and really set the tone and blow the lid off the place and everything else. You don't seize that opportunity because you created the issue. It was your mistake that created the problem. Alabama, what you did at the end of the first half, not seizing the opportunity to close the gap there. Not only did you not close the gap, you let the gap get widened because of the mistake you made there. That's the problem that's the frustrating part that you have with Tennessee right now if you're a Tennessee fan. It's like, yeah, this Tennessee team's far from perfect. Nobody's perfect. But you look at it and go, man, if we could get out of our own way enough, we could be a different football team than we are. Feels like you're getting in your own way too much.
All right, let's get some questions off the text line. 865-657-1278. Ricky from Goodlettsville. With the 2 interceptions Aguilar threw, were they take a chance type situations, or was there something there that Aguilar should have seen before the pass?
He did not see the safety. And I'm just going from what Joey Aguilar said.
On the first pick.
On the first pick. He did not see the safety. They baited him into that. I think his pre-snap read, he just went with it, and he got baited into something and didn't recognize the safety rolling over there. Thought he had room in the middle of the field to kind of lead there, and the safety was waiting on it. That's a bad read. That was a bad play by the quarterback. Got baited, whatever you want to say, got. On the second one, that was a bad decision. That's one that he's got some pressure in his face, he's off his back foot, and he's just kind of heaving that out there.
I thought of a Pat Ryan term. He used to call that flock shooting.
Okay.
And he used to describe quarterbacks who would do that, and it would drive him crazy.
Well, and he did it. He actually did it a second time and got away with it because there was the interference call on Brazel. But that was just kind of a heave up there, sort of a hope deal. So the first one was a misread that he should have seen or read better. The second one was a poor decision with pressure in your face.
Well, and the tough part of that is he's not really done that all year.
No, he's not.
Some of his picks were not bad decisions. They were, there was one play where a receiver fell down in the Georgia game, and he's made good decisions all year long. And so it's hard to say, well, this is the consistent way that Joey Aguilar has played, because it's certainly not. And to his credit, he fought back in the second half. He did not go in the tank like some quarterbacks do after they have a disastrous final 2 minutes of the half.
Well, and he's been pressured and pushed around and knocked around a good bit here the last few games. They've leaked a little bit up front. Now, that's a great defensive front seven. They come at you from a bunch of different ways. They do a bunch of different things. But, man, he was under quite a bit of duress. At the same time, too, as he said, it's my job to take care of the football.
Right.
And I've got to do a better job. I cannot turn it over 3 times. Like, he has enough self-awareness that it's like, that's my responsibility. That's my fault, which he said.
Well, and if you take care of business right there, you just sort of keep driving it methodically down the field, you potentially have a field goal opportunity to go in 13-13.
Mm-hmm.
And then it feels very different at that point.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, Joey Aguilar told me this after the Kentucky game, because he had played so well. It was 20 of 26 for 396 yards. And he said, my only issue with my play is I was greedy. I got greedy.
Right.
And that's why we had to punt a couple times, because I didn't take the easier play. I think there were some moments where maybe he got a little greedy again. And I think that's something he has to look at in this open date of, hey, check down's okay, dump down's okay. It doesn't always have to be the splash play. It doesn't always have to be the big play. I think sometimes, maybe he tries to drive it a little too hard, a little too much down the middle or down the field, whatever.
Never go broke taking a profit.
Exactly.
So you get the 6 or 7 yard gain. And what was interesting is on the touchdown pass to Staley, the second one, it's 3rd and 8.
Mm-hmm.
You throw short of the sticks. You're giving your man a chance to make a play, and he does.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the same thing. It's not like you held it one more beat because you've got to get it to Brazel, who's beyond the mark. You see Staley's open. You have confidence in him. You fire the ball. Because of when the ball gets there and because of the type of player Staley is, he not only picks up the first down, he scores.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, standing behind the play there, where I was standing on the side, I wasn't directly behind him, obviously, but the angle I had behind him, man, that was hard. He had a hard time seeing, I think, where Staley was in that one because of some pressure that was coming out. He really couldn't hold it another beat. But
Right.
to your point, he gave his receiver a chance to go make a play. And I think sometimes that's one thing he has to be mindful of is it's okay. It's okay if we're 3rd and 4 as opposed to, man, I got to get 10 yards on second down. Now, there are times where you got to go make a play.
Sure.
But there's some other times where you don't have to squeeze it like that.
Tyler from Moody, do you think our defensive struggles in previous games have changed our approach on offense to have more time of possession?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I don't feel like Tennessee was intentionally methodical early in the game when you look at it. Now, Tennessee had 3 double-digit play drives in the first half, which is unusual for Tennessee. But I think that's more of what the defensive structure was. And I think that was more patience by Joey Aguilar there and not trying to necessarily hit a home run all the time. It's okay to move the sticks. Let's get 4. Let's get 6. Let's get a conversion and move the sticks that way. And I think and this is always the cat and mouse deal. I think at times Oklahoma was saying, hey, we're going to test your patience. And then when they felt like you got a little bit comfortable there, it's like, okay, now we're coming and we're going to play some man coverage. And, there was they mixed it up more. Kentucky played a little bit more just man, like, hey, we're going to take our chances here. They mixed it up a little bit more. I thought Tennessee was really patient early. Maybe they weren't as patient when they got down double digits in the second half, which is understandable, I guess, trying to catch up there. But that's the fine line of where do you rip it and where do you say check down Charlie is a good play.
Best defensive line they played against.
Best defensive front 7.
I was gonna go to that next.
Okay.
And because of best defensive line, best defensive front 7, and how athletic they are in the secondary could hold up. I mean, they're playing freshmen back there in certain cases and hanging in there very well.
Yeah, the thing that impressed me seeing them field level is, yeah, they're physical, yeah, they're strong, but man, they close. I mean, when you think there's something's going to pop, there's a little crease there, that crease gets smashed that hole gets smashed in a hurry. Not a lot of big wide open windows to throw the ball to.
Well, they contended everything.
Yeah,
contested everything.
They did. I mean, and again, I think they close really well. I think they're well coached. I think they're complex. But the thing that stands out to me when you say what does Oklahoma do well? They close. They close on the ball carrier. They close to the sideline. They close on receiver really well.
This question from Jeremiah and Hickson: why didn't Heupel accept the holding penalty in the second quarter that would have pushed OU back out of field goal range to their own 47?
I think Tennessee, and talking to people, I think Tennessee felt like that was right on the cusp. And remember, Tennessee watches every coach does. They have an assistant, an analyst watches the other team in warmups. And so they chart every kick in warmups. What's their numbers at? Not just your kicker. What is this guy doing? Where do you think it's at? I think Tennessee felt like they were right on the cusp there. If you take that penalty, I think it's going to make it 3rd and 14.
3rd and 17.
3rd and 17.
Would have been 3rd and 17 at the 45.
And they're definitely out of field goal range there.
Yes.
Your defense is playing well. You could certainly make the case, yeah, you should take the penalty there. I think that they felt like that maybe he couldn't, even though he had made 50-yard kicks based on what he did in warmups, I think they felt like that was right on the edge.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, think about this, Jeremiah. You get off the field and you give them the chance to kick a 55-yard field goal. I think most people at most levels would say, good, kick a 55-yard field. Try it. You miss it, we're going to get the ball at the 37-yard line. Good luck. You're almost willing to take that shot rather than give them one more play, especially with the defense that, quite honestly, has had some problems on 3rd down.
Yeah, the only counter to argument that I think Jeremiah will give you there is your defense was playing really well at that point.
I don't disagree. A year ago, I think you probably take the penalty with the defense Tim Banks has.
Yeah, you do.
Because you'll take a shot at 3rd and 17 with that defense that gives up, 28% on third down?
Last year, yes.
Yeah.
29%. They were below 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think had it been 3 yards closer, had it been a 52-yard kick, they're taking the penalty.
You're taking the penalty.
Had
Sure.
it been 56, you're declining it. 55, you're right there at the cusp. And that's the decision they made, and it ended up giving Oklahoma 3 points. You can say should have taken the penalty and moved them back. If you get off the field, they punt it, then you don't give up the 3 points there. You rolled the dice, and it bit you because Oklahoma made the kick.
To use a basketball analogy, it's a guy taking a three-pointer with a hand in his face from 27 feet, and he makes it. At a certain point, you say you tip your cap.
Yeah.
I mean, it's certainly, in my mind, an either-or decision. It's not that was a mistake. It's they made you pay for it because the guy made the kick.
Yeah, you went out there and said, I don't think you can make this.
Right.
And he made it.
Or you're thinking they're going to punt it here.
Yeah.
Which is what most people would do.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they had confidence in him and the kicker because of what he had done throughout the year. And when he comes out there for a kick, you're like, okay, let's night environment on the road, big kick early, maybe we get a block. I mean, let's go see what happens here.
It's a good question, Jeremiah.
It is a good question, and I don't know that there's a right answer.
There's not. That's my point.
It's a topic to debate, and I think his point is, and I said this last night to somebody, man, you should have taken the penalty and put them back.
Sure.
Then I talked to somebody. I said, why wouldn't you have taken it there? And they're like, well, we thought that was at the very end of his range. That was the very end. He had to groove a tee shot to make that
exactly.
kick.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what they thought.
Hand in your face. NBA three-pointer type thing, and I mean he did it.
Yeah, he
twice.
Did. Yeah, twice.
Now, but he didn't get it by much in either case.
Nope, they barely got over the crossbar.
The 51-yarder barely got over the crossbar.
Yeah, and it's one of those in the air. You're like, that's not going to get there. I didn't think the 55-yarder was going to get there, and it's like, well, just keep carrying, and it's like, wow, he made it. The 51 one barely crossed the crossbar.
Barely. This is from Keith. Why does it appear our defensive backs close their eyes too soon as they're making tackles? They are not wrapping up. They just seem to throw their body in the way. But far too many times the runner either slides off the tackle or hurdles over our blind backs. I don't know anybody closes their eyes when they're making the tackles.
Well, they only missed 5 tackles last night, which was by far the best night this defense has had tackling people.
Because they were averaging, 12?
Averaging 12. Yards after the catch were greatly reduced. That is the one area of note the defense made improvement from the previous week and previous weeks to Saturday night in the Oklahoma game. They've not been a very good tackling team all year long.
No.
They've missed a lot of tackles. Angles have been bad. I don't think it's an eyes closed deal. I think it's a bad angle. I think that they have been out of position at times to make a tackle. Maybe they've left their feet too early. Different things like that. If you're looking for any kind of positive moving forward, you're hoping that they can grow as a tackling team because, again, they only missed 5 last night, which is significantly better than what we saw the week before at Kentucky.
All right, here's Mike from Nashville. Is Tennessee at the 85 scholarship limit this year?
I'm assuming that they are, that they would have put a couple walk-ons on scholarship.
But no NCAA thing still out there that's –
that's right. No, to answer is because they're not. They're not at that. They are still working. They're still working through that. Because remember, you cannot load that up. You can't load that and say, okay, we're going to take 12 in 1 year. You have to take a penalty every year through the probation, whether it's 2 or 3 or whatever to get to your number. So I think Tennessee's at 83.
That is the Rackley Roofing Recap, brought to you by Rackley Roofing, official, proud roofer of the Tennessee Volunteers. Your questions for Brent Hubbs and me, Mike Keith, on Big Orange Rewind, you can text them to us at 865-657-1278. That's 865-657-1278.
Big Orange Rewind.
Sponsored by First Horizon. Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life.
By the natural gas utilities and pipeline companies in Tennessee.
Natural gas.
Pilot, the official travel stop of the Vols. See you out here. RJV Kubota, with 2 convenient locations in Knoxville and Nashville. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer, proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
When getting the job done right is job one, you need construction equipment that's built right. From compact track loaders to the world's #1 selling compact excavator, the Kubota construction lineup features durable Kubota engines, more comfort, and the versatility to do it all and do it right. Visit your local Kubota dealer today. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Visit RJV Kubota locally in Knoxville or Nashville. RJV Kubota, a proud supporter of the Vols.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve Vol fans since 1983.
Vol Nation, if you're looking for quality performance apparel, look no further than Turtleson. Founded by UT alumni out of Bristol, Tennessee, Turtleson designs clothes and accessories that fit your lifestyle. From the office to the country club or the Tennessee Volunteers tailgate, Turtleson has the apparel that looks as good as it feels. Ask for Turtleson wherever you buy your volunteer gear or visit Turtleson.com to learn more. Turtleson is a proud sponsor of the Vol Network. Go Vols!
Here's a fresh twist on your typical banking options. What if, instead of choosing between a big bank or a small bank, you had one bank that's the best of both? Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. Big bank expertise and small bank savvy. All the resources to help you reach your dreams.
And the personal touch to keep you smiling all along the way. That's First Horizon Bank, the official bank of the Vols.
This is Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Back to the text line for questions. Brent Hubbs, here's one from Steve in Cookville. It seems that we're getting a little too cute on critical short yardage plays, such as the 4th down play last night in the goal line at Alabama, going to our 3rd-string tight end freshman on the most important play of the game is pretty questionable. I mean, I understand because he dropped the ball. But, man, he was open. He's got the first down. If he just makes a catch you've seen him make 25 times in practice, because Van Dorselaer has good hands. He's a nice receiver.
How many times in practice does he get hit by a defender coming out?
I understand.
You know?
I mean, I get where Steve's coming from. But, we said on the air, I asked Ramon on the air, because it was about 1.5 yards.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you can't run the ball right now. Is this a passing down? And Ramon wants to run because he's an offensive lineman.
Right.
But I don't think they had a lot of choice right there. Now, the Alabama thing, that's a different situation and a different story. But in this situation, the defender if he just catches the football, gets hit immediately, he's got the first down.
Yeah, I mean, my contention would not be, did you get too cute there? My contention would be, do you need, if you're going to go for it there on 4th down in those situations, do you want your best 11 guys on the field?
So do you want to throw it to Kitzelman there?
Or do you want to throw it to Brazel on a slant? Do you want more options as opposed to the freshman tight end and a defensive tackle playing, asking to block off the edge?
I understand that, which is part of the reason I don't know that you have time to throw a slant to Brazel. Because, they're getting heat on you all over the place. I think the ball's got to get out of the quarterback's hands fast. I think it's a one-read play. And, the question becomes, would you rather it be Kitzelman in that situation? But, I mean, you know.
Or do you run something different altogether? It's a motion play. You know, you're trying to get are they in man coverage? You run a motion to one of your speed receivers, and you're flipping something out there to him on a one-person route. I mean, I think it's more than necessarily being cute. I think the question for me would be, in that situation, who's your best personnel on the field to get you a yard and a half when you have to throw the football?
Well, they had it.
Right, they did have it.
If he catches the ball, they have it.
Right. If he gets his head around after he gets bumped and all those things.
And I know he got bumped, and I know that affected the route. And
sure.
And
I mean, he's open. It's not a bad play call. I mean, he's the same way at Alabama. You know, it's either a catch or it's an incompletion. The ball placement there is bad.
Yeah, the ball placement's bad, but you're also going into the boundary where it's really, really tight. You know, the question about that play was, should you have been in four wides and trying to throw somebody a fade? And if it doesn't get caught, it's an incomplete pass.
Right. Down and distance is different.
Right.
There. Sure. But, again, I mean, to me, it's the question of, is that the best play, or is there a better play with different personnel on the field? Not that personnel.
And I mean, if you want to say the thing about Jack's a freshman and you're asking a freshman to do something in a big situation, I get that. But I don't think they were being cute.
No, I don't think it was a cute deal. I mean, it was a well-designed play to get someone open, and you didn't make the catch.
Right.
So I don't know that it was, hey, we'll make sure to get to everything on our Waffle House play sheet tonight.
Oh, here we go. That's not into the Waffle House.
That's not what you were doing there. It was a play you believed that would get open, and it got open.
Well, let me ask you this: with how that game was going, would you have rather them run that or tried to run off tackle?
No. I mean, you got to throw it there.
That's what I thought.
I mean, the question is, again, who? Not because he's a freshman.
I hope Ramon's not listening because he'll be driving off the road.
Not because he's a freshman, but is that your best personnel to get you a yard and a half? Again, if it works, we're not having this discussion.
No.
The same way we had the discussion in the last segment about whether you take the penalty or you don't take the penalty. If you execute it, then he's not asking the question. But because you didn't execute it, now is that the best personnel?
Okay. Here's another one. This is pretty interesting. Maybe. Should Tennessee have gone for 2 to make it 18-16 when they scored to make it 17-16? Another touchdown and 2-point conversion would have made it a 10-point game, or with that played out, it could have tied things up instead of being down 26-24. End of game leads us needing only one score to win. Here's the thing. I mean, don't think beyond that moment, okay? I'm going to help you with the math here. If you go for 2 and you don't make it right there, you're tied 16-16. All you have to do is make a 20-yard kick to go in front. You go in front. There's no decision there.
Yes, I agree with you.
You don't worry about the rest of the game.
No, not at that point.
That's not a – now, in their case, what was interesting is they did not go for 2 at 22-17. The card tells you go for 2 there to potentially go up 24-17, but they only went up 23-17.
And again, because they went up there, they ended up with a 9-point lead,
right,
and a 2-possession lead. They didn't. Defensive coaches generally don't chase points.
No,
right?
I get it.
I mean, somebody asked me, should Tennessee have gone for 2 when they made it 27 or when they made it 26-24? Because then you would only need 8 at the end. But no,
but you don't assume they're going to score another touchdown.
Exactly. You got to have another possession anyway.
Yeah.
So now it's a 2-point game. If you get the ball on the onside kick, you're going to go down there and kick the field goal.
Yeah, there's no difference in being down 1 or 2.
Right.
But if you miss it, there is a difference in being down 3 because then potentially a field goal only ties it.
Right.
I mean, you can outthink what's to come down the line. I mean, you play for what anybody will tell you analytically.
And at the point where it was 17-16, there was a lot of football
early in the third quarter.
Well, you're thinking, hey, if we get with the way that you played in the first half,
Yes.
You got to stop on defense to start second half. You're thinking, okay, we're good with their adjustments. We can handle this. We just scored. We're going to go score because we're not going to turn it over like we did in the first half, and we're not going to come down to end-of-game decisions.
Brent, the biggest call of the game was after the Robinson fumble, and Thomas breaks out of the pack on the run down the sideline on the west side. And he goes to the 38-yard line, and they call it back and say he stepped out at the 15.5. Boy, that's a big situation.
It's huge.
Because if you've got a first down at the 38, you're doing no worse than flipping the field dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, you go 3 and out because they ran the student body right on third down, and Aguilar got taken down for a loss. So it ends up being a third down. They don't make it. They end up having to punt from their own end zone. And Oklahoma, they're out there. It used to be in the Southwest Conference. So they have great field position to begin that drive, but that was a huge call, and they looked long and hard for that step.
They did, and I was back at the injury tent, so I was not standing right there. So I went over there on the next possession, and a guy I talked to on the sidelines who's a Tennessee guy said, they got it right.
I think they probably did too.
And he kind of pointed. He goes, you can see where it moved right here.
But here's the problem with that some people would have. Supposed to be clear, irrefutable evidence. And I mean, they took a look from the blimp. They took a look from Mars. they got AI on it. I mean, they went deep to find it. I think he stepped out of bounds. That's what I think. And that's what I thought eventually. But it wasn't until you got to like the 10th look.
Right. And by the way,
and that drives me crazy whether it's my team or the other team on replay is if replay isn't conclusive very quickly,
then you don't have enough.
Then I think you go on because I think that's the problem with replay in football is if we're going to dig and dig and dig and dig, then okay. I mean, then was it that obvious? I mean, it was close.
Yeah.
And it was a big play because if the Vols are up 17-16 and Thomas has just made that outstanding run and you're at the 38 and now you can go a little bit, what happens?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing back to the previous question. The 3rd and 2 student body, right, that you didn't convert is why you're, quote, being too cute on 4th and a yard and a half a quarter later because that was your evidence. We can't line up and run it for 2 yards.
Don't tell Ramon. I know, but don't tell him.
Yeah.
Last question before the break. Brett in Ringgold, Georgia. That's a good part of the world, by the way.
It is a great part of the world. Good people.
Good people in Ringgold, Georgia. What's the chance of relegating dark mode to the same exile as the 1986 orange shoes and the 2022 orange helmets?
No, it's not going to happen. Tennessee didn't win, obviously, which is disappointing, but that's a thing. I mean, fans, I know obviously he doesn't care for it, but, fans like it. Most of the fans like it. The players like it. It creates a lot of buzz. You look at social media today, everybody's even talking about is there a better entrance than that place at night and Neyland Stadium at night when they go the way they go? So, no, it's not going to go away.
Yeah, Brett, it's become the new thing. And for what it does on social media in terms of views, I mean, it's the biggest thing in sports easily yesterday. Maybe the Dodgers got it at the end. Maybe they got it at the end with the double play to win the World Series, but I don't think so. This thing, and then you got Johnny Knoxville there, and you got Leanne Morgan there, and you've got the band with the circle drill at the half in the dark, and all of those sorts of things. It's a thing, and the campus has embraced it. I mean, it's not just an alternate uniform. It's a thing now.
Yeah. I think there's a greater chance that the Smoky Grays take a hiatus before dark mode gets deactivated.
Yeah, Smoky Gray will be next for New Mexico State,
right.
And it's the one that's the salute to military.
Right.
And it follows that pattern. But, yeah, that's an alternate uniform. dark mode is
an event.
An event.
I mean, it is. It's a thing. It's a whole presentation. It's a whole event. It's a whole thing.
On the Monday night show that we do, Vol Network's Monday meeting, which Brent Hubbs is on every week. He's a huge star. We're doing a behind the scenes of how they put that thing on. Sarah Detweiler's doing that. It's fascinating. It's fascinating how many people are involved and what goes into it. And, just what the game presentation is now. Tennessee's game presentation is so different than 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
And so different than 10 years ago. And it's a whole thing. And this is part of that outreach of the game presentation.
And it's not going to happen multiple times a year.
I don't think so.
That type of thing. I think that
could happen twice.
It could. But this is one of those when they have a night game, they're going to take advantage of it with dark mode, because particularly now when it's not getting dark at 9:15 at night, it's dark when you kick off. It's a total different deal.
Right.
A dark mode game in September has a very different element to it than doing one of these in late October, first part of November, because of the time difference and because it's dark so much earlier.
Well, the players love it.
Mm-hmm.
The recruits love it.
Mm-hmm.
Hello. Let's say that again. The recruits love it. But the student body here loves it. The faculty, the chancellor loves it. Everybody, it's a whole thing.
It's a marketing branding thing. And there's merchandising involved.
Which is
there's involvement with campus. It's kind of Tennessee's thing.
Well, and think about how much of the final year black Nike merchandise you sold this weekend, which is crazy. And think about how much Adidas black merchandise you'll sell the first time dark mode hits in 2026.
Yeah, and again, here's the thing about dark mode and all these things. Checker Neyland, those things, the ones that work are the ones that become an organic thing.
Mm-hmm.
And dark mode has evolved into this. Nobody set out and said, this is what we're going to do.
Right.
This is, hey, they're going to wear black uniforms. Hey, people really got into those. That was good. Okay.
Well, but remember when it happened.
We can do some more with it, and then it becomes
But
this.
Where it happened was the week after 2022 Alabama. And Tennessee's playing Kentucky, and Kentucky's supposedly a big threat. And so you're saying, okay, and what happens? They come out, dark mode hits, Tennessee beats Kentucky 44-6. So it was absolutely the opposite of 86 Alabama with the orange shoes and 2022 at South Carolina.
Oh, completely.
So, no, they're not going to give up on it because now they've lost once doing it.
Yeah, it's because it's a total different deal.
Yep. All right, a break. More of your text questions. You've had a lot of good ones tonight. We've had some good discussion at 865-657-1278. More coming up with Brent Hubbs on Big Orange Rewind.
It's football time in Tennessee, and Alumni Hall is the place to gear up for your Tennessee Vols. Shop the largest and newest selection of top brands like Nike, Columbia, Peter Millar, New Era, Yeti, and more. Mix and match champion tees, 2 for $38, and spend $150 to earn $10 Hall cash for your next visit. Shop AlumniHall.com. Visit Alumni Hall in Knoxville, Murfreesboro, Bristol, or Johnson City, or download their app. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping destination.
This is Mike Keith, and you're listening to the Ford F-150 Truck Highlight Show. Go Vols! The smart, powerful Ford F-150 turned in another championship caliber performance. Thanks to available Pro Power onboard and outstanding payload numbers, fans will be talking about this tailgate for years to come. For great offers on a new Ford F-150, see your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of Tennessee Athletics.
See Owner's Manual for important operating instructions.
A farm, a family, and a tradition of premium fresh sausage that's lasted almost a century. Using only the freshest ingredients and finest cuts of meat for flavor that is locked in instantly. Each bite of Swaggerty's Farm sausage transports you back to a warm, cozy southern kitchen, leaving you satisfied and ready to take on the day. Swaggerty's Farm, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. Now available at your local retailers.
Rackley Roofing is now the official roofer of the Vols, and Rackley is more than a roofing company. They're part of the communities where they work and live, investing in neighborhoods and opening doors to a career in an industry that's growing year after year. Rackley Roofing's mission is clear: transform the roofing industry with unmatched customer service, detailed documentation, and the highest safety standards. Because Rackley believes the ladder to a great roof is only as good as the people who climb it. Rackley Roofing, building roofs, building futures.
The week ahead, the final analysis on This Week. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Tennessee's defense delivered 2 sacks Saturday night against Oklahoma, which means Vol fans can enjoy a free Vols BLT Frisco Angus burger from Hardee's this week with a $1 purchase. Just buy yourself a drink.
I like it.
Yeah. Download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards. I did that. It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
If I can do it, it must be very easy. Use promo code UT584. That's promo code UT584 to redeem your free Vols BLT Frisco Angus burger from Hardee's. Terms apply. Available at participating locations. It's a good burger.
It is a good burger. 584?
UT584.
584.
Preston and Morristown on the text line, 865-567-1278. How do you guys think, or how do you think the guys will respond for the rest of the season?
I think this is the $1 million question. And this is where your leadership gets challenged in the locker room. I think your leadership of your coaching staff is challenged here because we've become a world, and rightfully so, where it's playoff or bust in the eyes of a lot of schools. And you know, the talk from this team has been about getting back to the playoffs. Now at 3 losses, seems very hard to get back to the playoffs. So how does this team respond? Where is your pride factor? It's what Josh Heupel was talking about a little bit after the game. You know, where are you at? You know, what's your makeup? You know, you're going to fight, or you're just going to say, well, I didn't get what I want and we're done. And I think that's the challenge that you have for this team, not this week, but coming out of this week and the next week is do you have enough competitive juices in you that you still want to do everything you need to do to not only play well, but to continue to get better over the next 3 weeks?
And from the standpoint of your roster, you've played 48 freshmen this year, 27 true freshmen. So the great majority of that bunch, if not every one of them, will be back next year. How you play, you know, will lead you into the offseason. And for a lot of those guys, they're going to get opportunities. Some of them are playing. The Perlates are playing right now. Obviously, David Sanders is playing right now, on and on and on. I mean, it's important that those guys see that, experience that, and have you take that forward because, you know, they talk a lot about the culture, and that's vitally important, but that comes from the leadership in moments like this.
No doubt. And that mindset should still be there. That should be the mentality. We're also in a very different world in college athletics.
Sure.
And what we've seen over the course of the last 2 or 3 weeks is coaches have been let go. Other coaches' names have popped up on hot boards because their agents have leaked it out there. Other coaches have gotten new deals to stay where they're at. Well, every one of these players, or most all of these players, have an agent. Their world is very similar to what coaches are doing right now. Am I going to get a new deal where I'm at? Hey, my agent's letting me know these 4 schools have interest in me. Am I happy where I'm at? This is where a lot of frank conversations in your relationships with your players have to take place here. And
you have to be proactive, don't you?
I think you have to be proactive. I've said this, and I'll say this. This is not directed to Tennessee. This is directed to anybody and everybody in college sports right now. If someone in your program, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, softball, whatever sport, is not thinking roster management 365 days out of the year, then you're making a mistake. Because it is if you're not thinking about it right now, then you're making a mistake. Because if you wait till December to decide what you're going to do, then you're going to be in trouble. So you have to have some real conversations with parents, with players right now about, hey, here's where we are. Here's where we think he is. This is our plan for him. This is that. And that's the world, whether you like it or not.
Sure.
That's the world we're in right now. And that's what happens in November, particularly if you're a school who's not in the playoff picture. And now you have a bunch of players who are at schools. What are the Auburn kids thinking on a Sunday afternoon? Right?
Well, their 30-day window's open, right?
What are they thinking at Virginia Tech? What are they thinking at Penn State? What are they thinking at all of these schools right now? Okay, my options are open. Whether the window's open for me or not, I need to be thinking about where I'm going to be 60 days from now.
Well, I mean, just think about what's open in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I mean, LSU, Florida, Arkansas, and now Auburn.
Yes. And the kids who were on those rosters had opportunities to go to other SEC schools because they have talented players.
Sure.
And there are kids on other SEC rosters who their finalist was one of those schools who has an open vacancy. So they're familiar with that deal down there. Who's the new coach that's going to go in there? That's why this month takes on a whole different life. And that's the challenges that you have right now as a coaching staff when you're looking at your roster and you're trying to figure out, hey, we got to win football games because this season's not over. Okay, this can't be we're going to do whatever to keep all these guys happy to make sure that they all want to be back here. You got to go win football games.
Sure you do.
Okay, so it can't be that. But at the same time, too, you have to consider where is this player's thought process at this point in the season, whether he's played a lot, whether he hasn't played a lot, what is he thinking? You better be having those type of one-on-one conversations.
More coming up. Your questions at 865-657-1278. Text us on Big Orange Rewind, sponsored by our friends at Calhoun's.
Fall fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and ball fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
Vol fans, it's Coach Heupel. One thing that makes college football so exciting is the way one drive can change the course of the whole game. The team at Pilot knows all about the difference a drive can make. They're out here on the road day and night to keep you fueled up, filled up, and fired up so you can make the most of every drive. That's why Pilot is the official travel stop of the Vols. From tailgates to away games, Pilot's got your back anytime you hit the highway. See you out here.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
Mike, Brent, and you. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Ruby Whitehorn is no longer part of the Lady Vol program, dismissed from the team for a violation of team rules by head coach Kim Caldwell. Averaged 11 points per game, 4 rebounds per game a year ago. Lady Vols opened Tuesday in Greensboro against number 9 NC State. The Lady Vols are ranked 8th in the country. Number 9 Texas A&M beats number 16 Tennessee in volleyball on Sunday by a 3-1 count. So Texas A&M takes that. Vol basketball ready to get started Monday night against Mercer. Interested to see the Vols as they get on the hardwood, and the Lady Vols as they get on the hardwood this week to get it started for real.
Yeah, it's certainly a test for the Lady Vols as they go to North Carolina to take on a 9th-ranked NC State. That's a top 10 matchup right out of the gate. So a good test for them. And for Rick Barnes' team, it's always talk about how much you grow from game 1 to game 2. You learned a lot about yourself against Duke in the exhibition game. Where have you refocused yourself and got yourself ready for the season opener as you start this marathon?
And you wonder, too, what will it look like in terms of the rotation? Will he try to play everybody throughout the course of the game, or will maybe potentially everybody get in the game toward the end? Who knows? But he's talking about an 11-man rotation. I mean, that's been discussed.
We'll see.
We'll see.
You have to have a real commitment to it, like Kim Caldwell does with her decision. I don't know that Coach Barnes at this point is really going to go that deep, but we'll see.
Well, the question is who'll play defense.
Yes.
Because if you won't play defense, you're not getting on the court.
And if you're 11 deep, then you think you've got the best defensive team you've had in a long time.
This is Big Orange Rewind.
Miss any of today's Rewind? Catch the full podcast with Mike Keith and Brett Hubbs. UTSports.com. We are the Vol Network. Exclusive guest, insider analysis. You know what happened, find out why and how, and what happens next. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Grab a taste after the next Tennessee game. Calhoun's.
Glad you're with us for Big Orange Rewind. Mike Keith and Brent Hubbs taking your text questions at 865-657-1278. We always love to get them. They sometimes get us arguing.
Debating.
Always get us discussing and thinking, though.
Oh, sure.
And we hope in the case of you, Vol Network listener, you get an answer.
I hope so, right? I mean,
you kind of paused when I looked at you. I was like,
why
are you listening?
Why are you listening? Why are you sending the question?
Why are you wasting time?
I mean, I would hope if I take the time to text, then I'll get an answer.
Well, that's the thing. It's really easier to text than call.
It is.
That's why people have started doing it. 865-657-1278. Here's one.
All right.
This is for Mike. Will the Vols ever consider having a general manager to handle football and the school's player salary cap?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Sure is.
And
because you played a team over the weekend that hired Jim Nagy from the Senior Bowl, and all he does is worry about player acquisition, evaluation, and the salary cap, so to speak.
So at some point in the last couple of months or so, Billy High has been named the Executive Director of Football Management.
Okay.
Now, what does that mean? How is that different from general manager? I don't know. Titles are titles.
I mean, that sounds like that's the job.
That sounds general manager-y to me.
Sure.
Now, here's the thing about general managers. In some places, they do a lot of things. Ron Rivera is very, very hands-on at Cal.
Right.
I mean, very hands-on with everything, to the point he's doing his own press conferences.
Andrew Luck.
Andrew
at
Luck
Stanford
is doing that. Jim Nagy is very involved with those things. So there are different layers to this in the college football world. It's fascinating. I wish we'd have recorded the conversation we had about 5 years ago. You and I had one day just sitting at the house, driving down the road or whatever we were talking about. Is this going to become a thing in college sports? Do you need to have one of these as NIL approached? And the answer to that is whether you have them in that title or you don't have them in that title, you have to have people in your program, back to what I was saying last hour, that are thinking roster management all the time, that have enough bravado, if you will, enough say, enough of a audience with the head coach that you can have very frank conversations, because somebody at some point in time, you're going to make hard decisions.
Right.
And here's what we know about coaches, and I'm not talking about Coach Heupel. I'm talking about coaches in general.
In general.
They don't have enough. Nobody has enough.
Ever.
They're like the millionaire. You know, how much is enough money? Well, more than I got now, right? Like, nobody's ever got enough. I need more analysts. I need more this. We need more that. We
Sure.
need better players. So, but you can't, it's not monopoly money. You just can't go out and spend. So somebody has to be the gatekeeper. And that person has to have enough ability to have conversations with the staff that says, hey, player X wants this to stay. We're not paying that.
Well, but let's go another way.
Okay.
Let's think about the coach and the relationships in particular with players they recruit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's hard.
Because they form these bonds and they have players that they like very much. Are you going to have, in most cases where schools don't have general managers, the head coach is still very much over the personnel. At some schools now, there are general managers who are over the head coach in terms of this.
There are fewer of those than there are the other way.
Agreed. Drastically fewer.
Okay.
But you can make the case that as the revenue share money comes in, the $20.5 million, with which after scholarships is taken off, is probably about $18 million. Most of it goes to football. You can make the case that having that separate general manager is so valuable to the head coach, because if there is going to be a difficult conversation, the head coach doesn't have to have it. If that GM type has that kind of juice.
Mm-hmm.
It also means they're probably going to have some conversations, the GM and the head coach, where the head coach may get overruled on a player.
Which
has never happened in college football, ever.
And that's why some college coaches have never had any interest in the NFL, because they don't want somebody in an office telling them who the roster is going to be.
Or they do not want it coming in to where they are now, even though Clemson, times have changed,
mm-hmm.
and you don't want to embrace any of that. And some of these coaches are afraid the power will swing too far away from them, because you're right. In many NFL situations, in many NBA situations, in many NHL situations, on and on and on, the GM is much more powerful than the coach, to the point that not only does the GM pick the talent, a lot of times he'll pick the staff of the head coach.
Right. And college sports is not there yet.
Never been there.
And I don't think they're there right now. Not from the staff standpoint.
And the head coaches, too, are – in many cases, the bigger-than-life types.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot more bigger-than-life coaches in college than there are in professional sports.
Well, name me a coach. Name me a school, and I don't know all of them, so this is an unfair question. But how many schools are there out there where the coach, the football coach, is the most powerful person on campus, and he has a true GM?
There's no such thing.
No offense to Cal and Ron Rivera, but Justin Wilcox, who I like Justin Wilcox a lot, he doesn't have the juice on campus that somebody in the SEC's got as a football coach.
And he doesn't have as much as Ron Rivera, because guess where Ron Rivera played?
Exactly.
Cal. He's a Cal guy who's taken a team to the Super Bowl. I mean, he's the real thing.
Right. So their situation is drastically different than a lot of situations.
But it's creeping into more situations. Let's say, for example,
with that.
If I'm running Auburn, okay, am I going to hire a GM first?
I don't know. You are at Virginia Tech.
Yeah, you are.
Which is different.
You are.
That's kind of out there.
I mean, but
it's a new world, dude.
But if I'm the athletic director, I'm the president, I'm the person who works with the collective or whatever, am I saying, hey, we're in this mess right now because we had a coach who doesn't understand how all these pieces go together. And the only way that we're going to have the pieces go together is have a quote-unquote unbiased person who handles the money and the personnel, and the coach coaches ball. Because it goes back to the whole thing with Bill Parcells and the New England Patriots. If I'm going to cook the dinner, shouldn't I be able to buy some of the groceries? Right?
Absolutely.
But
perfectly said.
And right now in college, the majority of head coaches, 95%, they're at Food City all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they buy all the groceries.
Right.
And now as that swings in a bit of a different direction.
But can it swing far enough when there's not a draft? Because that coach and his staff are the one going out and collecting the talent. And then your GM's going to come back to you and say, after year one, hey, we're going to move on here. We're going to move on there.
But I'm saying you don't think – I mean, listen, I know Jim Nagy well, okay? Jim Nagy's involved in the evaluation of who they're recruiting.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you.
Right.
He's fantastic at evaluating talent. I mean, they go out and get that kicker from UT San Antonio. That seems like a pretty good move. You know?
Right.
I mean, so you're looking at transfers, you're looking at your own roster, you're looking at high school. I mean, because what we're finding is this is going to be a blend of all of the above. The really good programs, it's not all transfers, it's not all high school kids. It's going to be a blend. You're going to develop players. You're going to be in a situation where you'd like to hold on even to some of your transfers for more than 1 year because you want to have some stability in that roster. And then fill in holes with the portal and with the money.
Yeah, I don't think you want to live in the portal all the time. I don't think that's the case at all. Again, like Kirby Smart has come out and said, I don't need a general manager. I'm the general manager. I run my football program.
Right.
Josh Heupel,
but that's working right now.
It is. Josh Heupel and Danny White were asked about it on the Big Orange Caravan months ago about a GM, and both of them, Danny White said, Josh and I have had conversations. We're comfortable with the setup that we have. Now, that's now. Does it stay that way? Where does this thing go next? You know, you're trying to stay a step ahead. Is it going to be collective bargaining? Does that change what we're doing, what you're doing in terms of how much money guys are making and that type of thing? We don't know where all of that's at. The question becomes, how do you help your head coach? What does your head coach need to roster manage? Some coaches need more than other coaches need.
But do the coaches know?
No. Nobody knows.
Well, no, but I'm saying
different tomorrow than it was today.
But I'm saying they think they know.
Well, they think they know.
I mean, it's like Kirby, like you're saying, Kirby Smart, and it's working great right now. And he's at Georgia. And they got, like 8 million players in the state of Georgia, and they can also recruit around the country. I would contend that's a different situation. He also comes from the Nick Saban tree. I think Nick Saban is a fabulous personnel evaluator. Nick Saban would have been as good a general manager as he would have been a head coach. That's rare. Mm-hmm. That's the difference. But if I'm doing a reset, if I'm Florida and I'm doing a reset, if I'm Arkansas and I'm doing a reset, I mean, I don't think that happens at LSU.
Well, I mean, they've got to get a lot of things reset at LSU first.
But who in the world knows? I mean, and by the way, let me quick history lesson from some who lived in the 20th century. This stuff at LSU has been going on for nearly 100 years. For all of the people who are pounding their chests and can't believe that the state's governor, just Google Huey Long, okay? Just do that. Just Google that. I mean, they've been involved in that job is one of the craziest in the country, and it always has been. But it's a great job because they got tons of talent, they got money, and they have passion to be able to support it. It's a great situation, but it's different than – it is as different in the SEC as much as Vanderbilt is different as the only private school because it's LSU.
Mm-hmm. Well, think about this. When they've been way out of alignment, which has been a lot, there was a stretch in the 90s, late 80s,
90s. Yeah.
They had like losing seasons 11 of 12 years
They were
or
awful.
something like that
Yeah.
because they had no alignment in what they were doing. Everybody had their hand in the cookie jar. And then Nick Saban comes in, and all of a sudden they
and
had
how
alignment.
fast did they turn it around?
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of talent to turn around if you can find enough alignment going in the right direction.
So this is not new.
No, it is not new.
This is not new.
Not for them.
But and for some of the same people expressing outrage over the LSU situation, they were also the ones that were tweeting out last night that Hugh Freeze needed to be fired. So which is it?
Well, they got it today.
Well, I know,
Hugh
but
Freeze is out.
well, I mean, when the student body stays behind after the game and chants "Fire Hugh," I mean, it's kind of
well, and that's another layer to what we were talking about before the LSU jump off was with the GM and all those things. Look at how much movement there's been already and how quick the movement seems to be happening with coaches in terms of, hey, I need my new car. I got to get a new lease.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're doing that, does that increase what you're saying? Hey, we're resetting here. We need to have somebody with stability that way.
But I also think they're letting coaches go more quickly because of the revenue sharing and the NIL and all of that towards next year.
Yeah, I think they are doing that. I think the other thing, too, is there's a belief out there you can turn it fast.
You can turn it fast.
You can turn it really fast. And, listen, Kirk Cignetti has changed it for everybody out there. Because every fan base is going, if they can win in Indiana, why aren't we winning? We're LSU. What do you mean Indiana's better than us? That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
Fair or not fair, but that's what the fan base is.
100%. But look at what they've done at Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
And what they did at Vanderbilt, let's make no mistake about it, they went and got Jerry Kill, who is a great football coach. And
go ahead.
And they also got Barton Simmons too as the general manager, but they have somebody with good general manager skills, good personnel skills, good connections in college football, and they go out and hire this football coach who I will always believe, if not for health issues, Jerry Kill would have a huge job in college football right now.
And they have money.
Oh, they have a lot of money.
But they have money that they are spending for football players and football rosters, which means they have an opportunity to go get a player that they would have never been able to have gotten before we got into this world that we're in.
Well, I mean,
now they can't go get 40 of them,
now,
but they can go get a few of them.
Their football model in terms of where they found it and bottled it is a small example towards what they did in baseball with Tim Corbin. Now, it's a different sport, literally, but and it's a different revenue setup. But once they found their guy and they found their niche, they've stuck with Tim Corbin, and look what he's done. That's what they're trying to do with football, and that's why they're going to try to hold on to Clark Lee with all they have. Clark Lee's a good football coach.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have any talent when he got there, but he's also been given time. He's developed it, and then they made this commitment to go out and get this football coach who is with him as a mentor, he's a program overseer, whereas Barton Simmons is the general manager. It feels like Jerry Kill is the director of football operations. He's the eye in the sky.
He's what Woody McCorvey was to Dabo Swinney when Dabo
100%,
was getting started.
100%. And having those people
to help you navigate through things as you're learning to be a head coach.
It's a great point.
Is important.
It's a great point. I think more GMs are coming.
I think they're coming too. The question I'm always going to have about that is, everybody's responsibility level at every school is going to be vastly different, or going to be somewhat different. I don't know that there's ever the quote model for the GM role. Where's it going to be at the particular school you follow?
Well, but it's like that in the NFL. I mean, some GMs have no juice, and the head coach has all the juice. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid's in charge of that team. They've got a GM, and he's talented, and he finds players, but it's Andy Reid's team. So I think my point is you're always going to have different models of how it fits together.
And back to his question on the text message, they have felt like their model at Tennessee
is working.
Yes. Back to his point.
Gosh, I need a nap now. We went at it hard there.
I don't know where we went, but we went somewhere.
Well, I mean, it is
a fascinating topic.
It's a great discussion. And listen, one of the reasons that Tennessee is back Tennessee's 6-3 right now. And that's not where everybody wants them to be. But by gum, that is sure not where they were 7 or 8 years ago. You know, I mean, to think that people are really disappointed in 6-3 is a relative term compared to where the program was in 2020 when it had been 12 years of just who knew what was next. But I get it. One of the reasons Tennessee has come back in the way that they have is they have understood this game.
Mm-hmm.
And they have played this game better than most. Their challenge is to keep finding ways to play it better.
Well, it's an ever-evolving world of roster management.
Right.
And Tennessee has managed their roster well. Look at who they've lost. Look at who they brought in.
Right.
They brought in better players than what they've lost, people that made impact elsewhere.
Right.
That's what you have to try to do. That's why the challenge, and that's why there's some coaches around the country that are going, you know what? I need to be somewhere where I can recruit a little bit too, because I can't live with trying to hit on 18 or 20 transfers every year to make this thing work. You're not going to hit that way. That's the point you were making earlier. You got to supplement here, supplement
and
there.
how much money are you going to put into 18-year-olds?
Well, that's the other challenge. The high school numbers versus the –
because the key with any salary cap is you don't ever want your money not performing.
And that's why Danny White's petitioning hard for collective bargaining.
Right.
Because it gives some power back to the people providing the money and takes a little bit of the leverage away from the student athlete who has all the leverage right now.
Right. But we're involved in a game with the team that has a player who's making $1 million a year that doesn't play.
Mm-hmm.
Because the coaches decided once he got on campus they didn't like him anymore. And that's what you can't have and be as successful as possible. You can't have money not playing.
Well, it's why in the NFL you can't miss on a first-round pick.
Right.
If you do for multiple years, you become a bad franchise.
Well, it's why the Titans had to start Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
You can't draft that player first and not play.
Right.
This season, enjoy, and it's the same thing in college. If you're putting $1.5 million into a player,
if that's your first-round pick, he's not holding the clipboard.
He's got to play.
Yeah.
This season, enjoy and celebrate with the great refreshing beverages that support the University of Tennessee. Light and crisp, truly hard seltzer, Twisted Tea, real brewed iced tea with a twist of lemon, Modelo, brewed for full-time Vol fans, Coors Light, choose chill, and Vol Lager from Yeehaw Brewing Company. Distributed across the Volunteer State by Cherokee Distributing. Remember, celebrate responsibly, and 21 means 21.
Big Orange Rewind on the Vol Network.
Sponsored by Food City, the official supermarket and tailgating headquarters of the Vols. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee. Complete coverage for every phase of life. Alumni Hall, the ultimate volunteer shopping experience. By Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee, the official insurance of the Vols. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life. Co-op, proudly supplying your rural lifestyle in Big Orange Country. And by UT Medical Center, the official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
Tennessee pride runs deep from Neyland Stadium to the family farm. At Farm Credit Mid-America, we stand behind the Tennessee farmers who feed and fuel our nation, just like we cheer for the Vols on game day. Because we understand that whether you farm every day, only on the weekends, or simply enjoy time on property outside of town, we have loans to fit your needs. Because farming matters, and so does every play, every harvest, every heartbeat of Tennessee. Learn how Farm Credit Mid-America serves the great state of Tennessee at FCMA.com. Loan subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Farm Credit Mid-America is an equal opportunity lender.
You're shopping for hard-working apparel or searching for the right ration for your cattle, Co-op is here to supply your rural lifestyle. With just the right selection of products to help round out your chore list, our family of co-ops is driven to serve everyone living in Big Orange Country, supplying essential supplies for the farm and home. Find a location near you by visiting ourcoop.com and go Co-op.
In this town, we don't just root for the team. We are the team. We rise before the sun, stay long after the lights go out. We are Big Orange Country. And with this team stands another, UT Medical Center. We heal the hurt, fuel the comeback, keep Vol Nation stronger, tougher, together, with care that never lets up. UT Medical Center, official healthcare provider of the Vols and all of Vol Nation.
Natural gas is building a brighter future for Tennesseans, powering the places where we live, work, and grow. It's more affordable than electricity and cleaner than other conventional energy sources. Natural gas makes every meal easier, delivering precision and speed in the kitchen. From your grill to your appliances, natural gas is there, keeping your life moving. And natural gas is the energy behind Tennessee's thriving industries.
Natural gas.
Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's, continues.
Your text questions at 865-657, 1278. It's tough to be in the same room with Brent Hubbs, kind of get a lump in your throat. Very intimidating.
Good grief. You're on it tonight, aren't you?
What? I'm on the cold medicine. Are you kidding? If I nod off during the program, will you take it home?
I don't know. I might be asleep with you. Night games are rough.
All right. It's our man Roger in Lewisburg. Love Roger. What happened to running tempo on offense? With our advantage on time of possession in the first half, I felt like we might have broken open a run with their defense on the field so much and their inability to substitute.
Well, a couple things. One, you gotta get started to get into tempo. Meaning you got to have a positive play, can't have an incomplete pass. So if you look at, Tennessee's drive to start the second half, they go incomplete, and then they hit a 27-yarder to Chris Brazzell. You go fast, okay? Then you come back and you run for 2 yards, and then you throw an incomplete. Now you're out of tempo again. For tempo to work, you can't have stoppages in play. So you've got to be able to keep it going and get the positive plays going. And Tennessee's, there are just too many stoppages in play because they've not been effective enough, in my opinion, running the football, which is forcing them to throw it over 40 times a game.
Talk about conference games.
Yes, in conference games. Games. I mean, Joey Aguilar has had 3 conference games where he's had over 40 attempts in a game. Hendon Hooker had 1 in 2022.
The other thing about Hendon Hooker, completed over 70% of his passes.
Mm-hmm. So
tempo, clock running,
yeah,
always on the move. Yeah.
Remember this too. Okay, so you throw an out pattern on your sideline and you get knocked out of bounds. Can't go tempo.
Right.
Can't go tempo. In 22, you could go tempo.
That's a rule change.
That is a rule change. That has affected the game as well. That makes it a little harder to go tempo. Is when you have those stoppages in play that are built in now. Okay, you get going, right? You got the Star Thomas play. Hey, we're going tempo. Got to review. So there's there's a lot more stoppages in play, it feels like, than there was a few years ago. And guys get hurt, whether they're hurt or they're not hurt, they can still do that and get away with that. Incomplete passes, run out of bounds on your sideline, all of those things factor into your tempo. And a negative play or an incomplete pass stops your tempo as well.
JP from Knoxville. Was 10-2 a realistic expectation? Does that change after having the injury issues we've had?
Well, you certainly thought that they were going to be better defensively because you felt like with Ricky Gibson and Jermod McCoy that you were going to be lockdown corners. You thought you'd have the two best corners in the league, best pair of corners in the league. You certainly felt like Boo Carter was going to take a step at the star position, which hasn't happened there. Now, when you changed quarterbacks at the end of April, I mean, should that have lowered expectations? Yeah, because you didn't know what you were getting, right?
Tennessee was picked 9th.
Right. I think that you looked at the schedule and you not knowing what everybody was going to be in the preseason, you felt like this was a team that 8-4, 9-3, and if a couple things went your way, yeah, maybe you could win 10 games. But to do that, you were going to have to do some things you hadn't done. You're going to have to beat Georgia. You're going to have to win on the road at Alabama. You had Florida on the road. You're going to have to break through in one or two of those areas to get to that point.
Brandon in Chattanooga. Let's see. The Vols have regressed this year to not only losing away games against better teams, but also home games against solid SEC opponents. This certainly has not been the norm under Coach Josh Heupel. But how much urgency do you think exists inside the program to take that next step of beating these top-tier programs? Again, Brandon in Chattanooga.
Well, I think everybody's got urgency. I mean, the investment level in football at the University of Tennessee is as high as it is anywhere in the country. It's the front porch. It's the catalyst. It's the engine that drives the train in college sports. So there's always urgency to win from administration through Josh Heupel and everybody within his program. I mean, everybody expects to win and wants to win. You got to go, as I said at the top of the show, you got to go play cleaner because, again, there are not many games in this league anymore where you roll the ball out and say, hey, we're just better than you are. Georgia's finding that. Now, Georgia has figured out how to win, right? You look at them and say, well, they should have lost to that team. Well, they didn't. They should have lost to that team. They didn't. They should have lost to that. They didn't. They have found a way in the fourth quarter to finish games. Do I think there's a step there for Tennessee to take and continue to do that to win these games you're talking about? Yeah, you've got to play a cleaner brand of football. You've got to play for 60 minutes and those type of things. I mean, Tennessee penalties were not an issue for Tennessee yesterday. It's the best day they've had with penalty discipline all year long. The problem is you turned it over and you gave up points. You gave away free points. You didn't play well enough to win against one of those teams. You can't make the mistakes that they made yesterday and win against good teams. You make those same mistakes the last weekend of the season, Mike, you won't be Vanderbilt. You can't give away 16 points or 13 points in the first half on offensive mistakes. You got to play cleaner.
But you were still in a position after all of that.
You had the lead.
4 minutes into the second half, you had regained the lead. The same way at Alabama. 4 minutes into the second half, you were right back in that game.
Well, you've had 3 opportunities in your 3 losses in the second half to do something to change the outcome of the game.
Right.
Alabama, the defense gets you the ball back. You've got a chance to cut that to a 3-point game?
Could have, yeah.
Against Georgia, you get the turnover with the lead, and you got a chance to go up 2 scores.
You're up 5. You could have gone up 12 with a touchdown and an extra point, right?
And then Saturday night, you're playing Oklahoma. You've got a 17-16 lead. The defense gives you the football back now. You're back,
albeit at your own 10.
But they get off the field.
They do.
After they've given up a 3rd and long, they shouldn't have. They got off the field and got you the ball, and you went 3 and out. You've had 3 opportunities to stretch a lead, opportunity to put a game away, opportunity to close within 1 score, and you haven't been able to generate what you need.
Some
in those
would
games.
say that where it is right now, this is the hard part. And it kind of mirrors some of what we saw in the 90s. getting there, knocking on the door, being in these situations. I mean, it took Tennessee quite some time before they kicked the door in.
Well, yes, and I had this conversation with Philip Fulmer for a story I did at VolQuest years ago when Tennessee was having a hard time winning close games, finishing games. Coach Fulmer became noted for being able to finish games. You know, he's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and he holds the ball for 8.5 minutes in the fourth quarter. And I said, Coach, how did you get that? And he goes, you don't go get it. You live it. And you live it long enough that you break through, not just once, but you break through 2-3 times, and then it becomes a habit thing that this is what we do. That is what Georgia has been able to figure out with Kirby Smart. That's what Nick Saban did.
Well, they've got Nick Saban's thing now in Athens, Georgia.
You get there in the fourth quarter, Georgia's on the ropes, and you're like, no, they're going to win because they're going to be able to find a way to finish.
They think they're going to win.
Absolutely, they do.
They believe it. Their fans believe it. Their coaches believe it. And, oh, by the way, the other team believes it.
Well, you said this is the hardest stretch or this is the hardest time. This is the golfer trying to break 80 instead of break 100 or break 90. To get bowl eligible, win 6 games, that's an easier path than it is to go from 9 to 10 games, or 8 to 11 or whatever. You're now the golfer trying to break par. Okay, you're no longer trying to, hey, my goal is to break 90 this year. That's easy compared to what you're doing right now. This is the harder part when you're in that level and that level of a playing field against quality opponents.
Well, and let's think about this too. When Nico Iamaleava was gone, left, dismissed, however you want to put it, there were a lot of people who were talking, this team would be lucky to win 6 games. At the moment it happened, it was catastrophic. Josh Heupel talked about his locker room. He talked about stability. He talked about the leadership. I think we've seen that. I mean, this team surpassed a lot of expectations early in the year. Now, the bigger milestones that people wanted them to hit after they saw this team was better than they thought they were going to be, expectations went up, and rightfully so. Tennessee could have beaten Georgia. Tennessee could have beaten Alabama. They could have beaten Oklahoma. I mean, they've got themselves to the point where they can stand in there with those people, and they beat them some. I mean, Georgia they haven't, but nobody really has. The point being, now you've got to get that consistency where you're not just winning 1 out of every 2. You're winning 4 of 5 or 5 of 6. I mean, right now Georgia can't beat Alabama. But that is not stopping them from being what they're being. I mean, what's Alabama beating them? 10 of the last 11?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, which is crazy because they've been every bit as good as Alabama, if not better in those stretches.
And here's the
everybody's got somebody, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and here's the other thing that goes with this too. You're talking about who Tennessee could have beat this team this year. If Chris Brazzell doesn't make a great catch at Mississippi State, you might not win that game.
100%.
And that's where this league is right now. And the hardest part for coaches when you're talking about 17 to 22-year-olds is getting them to play at a peak level physically and mentally for 12 weeks.
Sure.
Now, that may sound as a cop-out. Somebody out there listening to guys make $10 million. Figure it out. But to get those guys to be at their best, look at Texas. Texas survived in Lexington, Kentucky. Should have gotten beat.
They were outgained 2-1. Yeah.
Survived in Mississippi State, were beat and rallied to win.
Right.
And then they throttled. They had control of that game against Vanderbilt. I know Vanderbilt had an onside kick late, but Texas controlled that game for 58 minutes.
But though, to your point, they couldn't even enjoy the success of playing their best game of the whole year.
This league's hard.
Oh, it's incredible. Because when we started covering it, I was looking back to some of Tennessee's wins over South Carolina. I mean, Tennessee used to just hammer South Carolina. And they would hammer Ole Miss, and they would hammer Kentucky and Vanderbilt. And, it was the Florida game was big. I mean, Tennessee at that time was handling Georgia. They weren't very good.
Right.
The game was Florida. Alabama was not as good as Tennessee at that point.
But it was still Alabama.
But it was Alabama, and they did Alabama things. LSU was not any good. I mean, there were some easy outs in the lineup. Who's the easy out? Ask Georgia playing Florida with their interim coach. I mean, a bunch of those guys you're thinking have the surfboards on top of the car and it's running because they're trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And yet Florida should have won that game.
Oh, and by the way, we're going to give you one more conference game next year to
Right.
deal with it.
Right.
I mean, that is the difference in this league than any other league out there. And it's the difference in this league from 15 years ago, 20 years ago, certainly 30 years ago.
Right.
There are no layups. And there's no layups for a couple of reasons. One, there's better coaching at some of those schools that used to be layups. And two, everybody has money to spend. And if you spend it the right way, if you hit on something the right way with a transfer, then all of a sudden, like Vanderbilt did with Diego Pavia. Listen, Clark Lee, all those coaches have done a terrific job there, but he's been a catalyst for them to change their locker room culture. You hit on the right stuff. Add a little bit of supplement money with it, little kid here, kid there, and all of a sudden got him a weapon or two. We're pretty good on defense. And suddenly now you're no longer the layup. Because in this league, we're getting much more NFL-like in terms of anybody can beat anybody on any given Saturday.
And Sunday.
And Monday,
Thursday,
and Tuesday, whatever you play.
Yeah.
It's just different.
It is different. Big Orange Rewind presented by Calhoun's, a proud sponsor of the Vols.
UT fans know it takes teamwork to win. And when you choose Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, you get a team who served Tennesseans for 80 years. From babies to seniors, big needs to small, we offer health coverage that fits your life and your budget. All from a company right here in your community. Now that's what we call a big win. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee.
It's football time in Tennessee, and that means it's time for Calhoun's. Whether you're headed to the game or watching from home, make Calhoun's your pregame, postgame, and every game headquarters. From hickory smoked pulled pork to the legendary ribs, juicy burgers, and mouthwatering brisket, Calhoun's delivers the flavor that fuels Big Orange fans. With 9 convenient East Tennessee locations, there's a Calhoun's near you. So gather your friends, wear your orange, and experience why they're the taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's, proud to serve ball fans since 1983.
Hey fans, it's Coach Heupel. On the field, every play adds up in a long drive. Life works the same way. Whether you're building a home, raising a family, or running a small business, it takes consistency and a strong team behind you. That's why I turned to Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Just like our team, they're built for the long drive. Farm Bureau Insurance of Tennessee. Tennessee Insurance for Tennessee Life. Get a free quote at FBITN.com.
At the University of Tennessee, the Vols are known for competing at the highest level on the field, the court, and the diamond. And just like the Vols, Food City excels at everything too. They've got in-store butchers carving up certified Angus beef, fresh local produce, a full-service bakery, Fuel Bucks rewards, and one of the best beer and wine selections in town. Food City, the official supermarket of the Vols, and your home for everything Tennessee.
Presented by Calhoun's. This is Big Orange Rewind.
Need a haircut? With the Great Clips app, you can put your name on the list from anywhere and head to the salon when you're up next. Because getting a great haircut shouldn't mean putting your life on hold. Great Clips. It's going to be great. I think they actually say it's gonna be great. Gonna. It is. It's gonna be great. Let's see. We've gotten that one. Let's see. We had a lot of outstanding questions.
Yep. Good topics
on the Big Orange Rewind tonight.
Lots of things going on. It's an interesting, like I said, it's an interesting time and an interesting world. in college football.
Hugh Freeze gets the axe at Auburn today.
I don't ever remember this many big name jobs being open at any point, much less November the 2nd. When you think about it, just a ton of movement. Who's going to land where? Who wants to move? Who is like, yeah, I'm okay. I mean, listen, I think John Summerall at Tulane's going to get a job. The question is, which one does he get? The domino will start with, what does Lane Kiffin do? And then there'll be a trickle from there, right? Because he's the one everybody's going to call on first. Hey, you got any interest? And, then where does he make a move to, or what does he do?
They're going to call Jimmy Sexton.
Well, right? Yeah, I mean, they call him, and then then we start placing the dominoes everywhere.
Sure.
But it's not just filling those spots. It's the trickle down that's going to come with other head coaching movement, and it's also going to be the coordinator movement that happens around the country and the assistant stuff. I mean, there's going to be massive upheaval.
It's
of
Schumann at Georgia that a lot of people think is going to get a big job, right?
Yeah, I think he's got a shot to get a big job. I don't think Monken and Baltimore with the Ravens wants to go in the college game, but he gets a call every year to whether or not he wants to be a college coach.
He's got a great scheme.
Oh, yeah.
He's got a great scheme.
I mean, Alex Golesh is sitting at South Florida. Where's his situation versus what he can get?
The thing that is so interesting with these firings and how dramatic they've been and when they've happened, the expectation of your fan base is you're bringing in Knute Rockne next.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's that way every year, but it's certainly when you got a 2-month ramp up to
it.
Absolutely,
because they've got their hot boards, which are just incredibly hot, and they've got every coach under the sun. Why wouldn't they want our job? And we've got all this money. It's a better job than anybody else. But is it? That's the hard part. Is Florida better than Penn State? I don't know. I mean, maybe if you want to live in Florida, if you want to live in Gainesville, maybe you have relatives down there. Maybe your recruiting base is down there. Maybe your wife's from down there. There are different things that kind of factor in, which I think is interesting. But if you're an athletic director right now, who can you sell? I mean, can you sell John Gruden?
Well, sure.
I would think so.
Yeah.
But can you sell Glenn Schumann?
No, I mean, you can't. I mean,
but what if he's the next? I mean, what if he's the next Kirby Smart?
Right.
Well, but there are a lot more of those guys who don't end up being the next Kirby Smart.
But can you sell that guy easier because of what Kirk Cignetti's doing at Indiana? Because nobody really knew who Kirk Cignetti was.
No.
He had done a great job at James Madison.
He had been at James Madison. That's right.
And he has a lot of experience. But everybody's looking for that guy if you can't get the whale, right? If you can't get the big name. Okay, now let's go find our Kirk Cignetti. Is what we're looking at. How many of those are there floating around?
Well, it's like when Tennessee hired Bruce Pearl from Milwaukee. I mean, you're like you bring in somebody who is just such a personality that it's like, oh yeah, this is the perfect guy for our situation.
Well, and think about all these candidates out there, that guys that are going to have opportunities to interview for jobs, or their agents going to be able to move in. What questions are they asking now compared to what you would have asked 10 years ago in a job interview? Because it's not just about your salary. It's not just about your recruiting base or facilities, but you're asking money questions.
Sure.
What's the commitment level? And the answer is a different commitment than it was 10, 15 years ago.
That's why I believe with all my heart, stability is more valuable today in a program than it's ever been.
Yeah.
If you've got a head coach that really fits you, I mean, it's a big thing.
Oh, no question.
Because you have no idea what the miss rate is going to be in this world. It's high anyway, as Tennessee fans know. The miss rate is high, very high. But, wow.
Well, it's never about who you fire. It's about who you hire.
It's about who you hire, always.
And getting it right. Most places don't get it right the first time.
Very rarely.
Very rarely.
By the way, before we go to break, at the game Saturday night, Leanne Morgan, huge ovation. Johnny Knoxville, incredible ovation. Josh Elander.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right there with him.
Yeah.
I mean, what a moment for Josh Elander, and what a moment for Tennessee baseball that a crowd at Neyland Stadium would go nuts over the new baseball coach who was promoted from the staff. Wow.
Yeah. And give Josh Elander credit, man. He has hit it out of the park, not just in his interview with Danny White, but he's hit it out of the park every time he's been in front of a microphone. His interview with you on the Mike Keith show last Thursday was terrific.
Did you cry?
No, I did not cry. He did a really good job. He did a really good job at his press conference. I mean, when he's had the opportunity to get in front of the fans through the media, he has knocked it out of the park.
Well, I mean, the fact is, most of us really didn't know it.
Right.
And
he's genuine and real if you know him. Once you get to know him.
You know what I think he is? I think he's Tony Vitello 8 years ago. I think if he had been the guy who'd walked in here, if that had been him at that moment, I think you would have been just as impressed. Which is saying something, because from the moment you saw Tony, you're like, that's a guy.
Yeah.
And when you see Elander, you say the same thing.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
and to see the crowd at Neyland Stadium got me, because seeing people get excited about Tennessee baseball is special.
Oh, absolutely, because of where it was and where it was when you started calling those games to where it is now. It's hard to even fathom it.
We didn't actually broadcast on the radio. We just yelled out the window because the people could hear us. We had no broadcast equipment. We just hollered down. Not far wrong. A break, and then back with more Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Today's Big Orange Rewind, sponsored by
First Horizon Bank, Big Bank Solutions, Small Bank Spirit, the official bank of the Vols. Swaggerty's Farm Sausage, quite possibly the best tasting sausage in America. By the Tennessee Fund. Join the My All campaign today at IWillGiveMyAll.com. Rackley Roofing, the official roofer of the Vols. And by Ford. Visit your local Ford dealer. Proud sponsor of the Tennessee Volunteers.
Tennessee fans, the Vol Shop has everything you need to support the Big Orange, with a 15,000 square foot store in the Student Union and other locations on Cumberland Avenue, in the University Commons, and inside Neyland Stadium. The Vol Shop is stocked full of official gear and exclusive apparel. The Vol Shop is your go-to retailer for Tennessee merchandise. If you can't make it to campus, shop online at utvolshop.com and be sure to follow them on social media. The Vol Shop, the official campus store of the University of Tennessee.
Tennessee fans, your game day isn't complete without Calhoun's. Whether you're inside Neyland Stadium for the game or tailgating on campus or at home, Calhoun's has you covered with shareable small bites, family feed packs, and party platters. Imagine your tailgate piled high with hickory smoked ribs, tender pulled pork, and that famous barbecue chicken. The best of Tennessee on one plate. Call ahead or order online and make your game day legendary. Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee.
When you travel across the great state of Tennessee, one thing you're sure to find is Big Orange passion. You see it throughout every inch of the volunteer state, just like you see First Horizon, serving communities big and small, offering big bank products with small bank passion. What else do you need? Big bank muscle, small bank hustle. That's First Horizon, the official bank of the Vols, proudly serving Tennesseans for over 160 years.
Fall fans, ready to score big on your next home? Clayton Homes, Oakwood Homes, and Love Homes are proud sponsors of Tennessee Athletics and proud to help you find your dream home. Whether you're a first-time buyer or looking for your forever home, their teams across Tennessee have your back. With 29 locations statewide and Energy Smart Homes designed for year-round savings and a lifetime of comfort, it's never been easier to make the move. Stop by today and see why so many families and Vol fans trust Clayton, Oakwood, and Love Homes to turn home ownership into a win.
A look back and what's next. Big Orange Rewind, presented by Calhoun's.
Brent Hubbs, what does this bye week look like for the Vols in your opinion?
Try to get well. A couple days on the practice field, obviously, get some work in and try to get some guys healed up and, self-evaluation, self-scouting yourself on both sides of the ball and go to work. Continue to build on some good things that you've done and obviously fix some of the problematic things that you've done. They've got to clean up some of the leaking on the offensive line. 9 sacks in 3 games is too many. They did tackle better. They've got to continue to take a step there defensively. And you're looking for young players to grow. The young players have to take advantage of this.
Our general manager is Brandon Parks, executive director Glenn Thaxton, director of business development Josh Payrow, special advisor Steve Early, account executives Chuck Arnold, Kevin Ashmos, Ben Bates, Nick Bell, Savannah Chalfant, Brandon Lane, Jessica Leifheit, Spencer Rudder, Chris Wagner. Our technical director is Tim Barry. Our network engineer is Jay Leifert. Network producer Eli Davis. Associate Director of VFL Films, Ashley Farrell and Travis Dean, and Director of Radio Projects is Larry Stone. We'll remind you that the Vols are off this week, but we've got Tennessee basketball. Lots of it coming up. We're into the overlap season here on the Vol Radio Network.
Big Orange Rewind.
Presented by Calhoun's, a taste of Tennessee. Calhoun's is the perfect place to rewind after every Tennessee game.
Rewind one more time to this weekend's action. Catch the podcast at utsports.com. Big Orange Rewind. We are the Vol Network.